Welcome back everyone. So today we'll be showing you a comparison between the basic guns in the gunsmith team so that you can see which ones are good and which ones not so much. Starting with the handgun, which is the cheapest gun in the entire game. It is not objectively cheap, but it is just 600 bucks, so that gives it some advantages. So the stats are 16 damage, which is pretty good, 160 fire rate, which is not that great, and 12 round capacity. So that capacity is pretty good. So these are kind of like average stats, except for the fire rate. These are very average, like the median in firearms. So let's test it out. It is worth noting that this is the standard firearm in the sheriff team. So that gotta count for something, right? Testing accuracy. And at close range it is pretty good. Very nice tight grouping. So let's test it out as something that should be more like medium range. Although it is not that medium range, but you know. And let's see. Still decent grouping, although it is not entirely consistent. Sometimes it will be far more inaccurate, but sometimes it is still very accurate at medium ranges. So now that we've seen its accuracy and all, final rating, I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10 because it is not that accurate at longer ranges, but its mag capacity is good, its damage is decent, and especially it is very cheap. So that automatically gives it a lot of leverage in this comparison video. So yeah, 6.5 out of 10, decent gun. There are some better. Moving on to the snub nose revolver. With a price of 700 bucks, still pretty cheap. 19 damage, which is pretty good. 240 fire rate, which is superior to the regular handgun, but it only has 6 rounds since, it's a revolver. But it's not looking too bad right now. Let's go ahead and test its accuracy. And we are seeing some spreading here, and this is very close range. So it's not looking too good on the accuracy department for the snub nose. Testing out at medium ranges. Uh, so I think this one on the right is because I moved accidentally, but you're still seeing a ton of spread here. So yeah, the likelihood of you defeating someone at medium range with a snub nose is kind of low because it's quite inaccurate. So for its final rating, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. May seem surprising considering that does more damage and has a fire rate superior to that of the regular handgun, but its accuracy is very bad. And the fact that it's a revolver means it only has 6 rounds, so it is kind of bad in that aspect because the likelihood of you being able to kill someone with this thing is very low because your capacity is quite small and the damage doesn't compensate. So we're gonna move on to the no, not this one, the combat pistol. We're getting into pricier ranges here. With a cost of 1,100, it has 14 damage, which is not that great, 260 fire rate, which is quite fast, and 17 rounds in the mag, which I think is the highest capacity pistol in the entire game. So it's looking pretty good. It is worth noting that the U.S. Marshal Team and Safe 7 use this gun as their standard sidearm. So let's test its accuracy. So at close range, its accuracy is near perfect. Those holes are basically on top of each other, so that's pretty good. That's very good, actually. It's looking very nice. Now let's move on to the medium range test. Uh, over here. Let's check it out. So wow, that is a very tight grouping for a pistol. So yeah, its accuracy in medium range is still extremely good. You can still hit reliably at longer ranges. But its fire rate is somewhat inconsistent sometimes. So there is that to consider. But as a final rating, I'm gonna go ahead and say it's a 7 out of 10. Because, well, it used to be pretty terrible before the revamp. It only did 12 damage, and its capacity was lower. But ever since they revamped it and made it into the Glock, it has gone up a lot. It's a lot better now. Its main disadvantage is that it is still quite pricey at 1,500 bucks, which is pretty bad for a pistol. There are more expensive pistols, obviously, especially in the advanced gunsmith team, but this is still quite pricey. Why is it still pricey? Well, because if you just spend $100 more, you can buy a micro SMG, which, it does less damage, but its fire rate is superior, and automatic weapons have a huge advantage in this game. But in the pistol category, this is a pretty good pistol. 7 out of 10. Moving on to the heavy pistol to end this video off. Has a very good damage of 20, which is actually the same amount of damage that the service rifle does. So that's interesting. Fire rate 240, same as the snub nose. Magazine capacity of 13, that is still superior to the regular handgun. And the snub nose, obviously. So, but wow, it's expensive. $1,900. That is very expensive. So let's test it out. We start by testing its short range accuracy. And short range accuracy is very good. It's pretty much the same as the combat pistol. So far it's doing very well. Now let's see how it does at medium ranges. So at medium range, it is starting to spread. Not as much as the handgun, I think, but it is starting to spread a bit. You might miss some shots with this thing, but it's looking good. For our final rating, I'm actually not really sure where to put this, because on one hand, its damage is excellent, its accuracy is very good, but man, is this thing expensive. I mean, its magazine capacity is also great. So as a gun, it is pretty good, but it's so expensive, dude. $1,900 is a lot of money for just one pistol. The micro SMG is less expensive, and the riot PDW you can get by just paying 300 bucks more, and it is better. So yeah, there is that to consider. Not sure what rating to give. Maybe a 6 out of 10, maybe a 6.5 out of 10. I'm really not sure where to put this. So sorry to disappoint in that aspect, I guess. But yeah. Oh, and for extra information, here are the guns on the real life basis. So the Beretta is its real life inspiration is the Beretta 92, or frankly any pistol of the Beretta family, since they all look pretty much the same. They all have the same distinctive look. The snub nose is based on the Detective Special Revolver, which is a revolver that was used in American police forces a while ago, like 30 years ago. But now, moving on to the combat pistol, which is obviously based on the Glock 17. We know it is the Glock 17 because of the capacity and the fact that this was the only Glock around in the market at the time Anomic takes place. Finally, the heavy pistol is based on the Browning High Power, which is a 9mm chambered version of the 1911. So yeah, you got the two world wars in European caliber. So with all that being said, thank you for watching. Please suggest which video you would like to see next. With all that being said, like and subscribe. This is the Traxxas signing out.